Hey guys, Alan Rummel here, candidate for Lee County School Board in 2022. Just wanted to shoot a quick video. So you may have seen on my Facebook page an invitation to the Lemon Springs Park here on Friday to have a discussion with some concerned parents, and I wanted to talk through that conversation a little bit. So obviously I was able to attend that after the invitation, and just wanted to share with you guys a little bit about that conversation. And really, I'd like to kind of touch on it from two different perspectives. So the first, obviously, being from the school board perspective, since I'm running for school board and posting this on my candidate page, but then also a little bit of information, more just as a parent, concerned parent that wants to be active in our community and involved with our kids' education. So this meeting involved three parents that made this invitation, and then myself and Chris Gaster were invited. And what these parents were looking for was just, a bit of conversation, but then looking for a starting place on this topic. So we discussed a lot of different things, but the main thing that they wanted to talk about is the fact that the Biden administration has amended the federal Title 9 law, which is basically it's the law which defines protected class and civil rights. And so the Biden administration has changed that to include sexual orientation and gender policies. And that Title 9 is also tied to the federal student lunch program, basically. So the program that provides free and reduced lunches for kids. Basically, the threat is that if schools don't adopt policies to accommodate transgender and gender identity, that the federal government can technically pull funding from those schools for those school lunch programs. So they can take the poorest kids in our community. They can basically take their lunch money if our schools don't cave to these gender policies. So I guess the first thing I need to do is just level set and tell you guys exactly where I stand on that topic first before we get into, the board and the parent details. So I'll just be very upfront and say that there are only two genders. There are male and female. I think last I've heard the official count for, the gender extremists were up to like 50 or something like that. I don't know the number, but there are only two. And to me, it is not okay for anyone at school, especially a public government funded school, to discuss anything otherwise, or especially to suggest to children that you can change that gender. And I've heard a lot of stories, honestly, local personal stories, and then obviously read some things in the news where counselors or teachers or, whoever, people at schools are suggesting to kids that they may need to change their gender because that'll help to correct, underlying issues, sadness, anxiety, depression, any of those things. They're suggesting to kids that changing gender will somehow make them happy and fix those issues. That is child abuse. It's not correct, obviously. So, you're chasing down, changing your gender. I just don't see how somebody could suggest that is going to make you happy. That's going to be something you can do, and it's going to solve all your problems. That's just fake news. It's child abuse. It's not okay. So the second thing, critical race theory is something else swirling around, and that seeks to make skin color a character trait. Well, the way I see it is these gender extremists, they are wanting to make sexual orientation and gender also be a defining character trait. So if you are on, Facebook, Twitter, social media, and even some places of employment now, where people list their name and kind of a bio, you'll see a person's name, and then they will add a sexual orientation, a gender, and add pronouns at the bottom, as if that somehow defines them as a person. So I think that is just all wrong on its face. I don't care what gender or what sexual orientation a person is. I care about your character. So to suggest to kids that those gender and sexual orientation are defining traits, I just think that's all wrong. And then honestly, discussing sexual orientation with children, especially elementary children, but honestly any of them under 18, adults that do that are not the parents, or somebody authorized by parents to do so, that makes you a pedophile. because you're discussing sexual topics with children. And if you haven't been authorized to do that, then you're a pedophile. And that has nothing to do with school. It has nothing to do with, reading, writing, math, science, history, any of those things. If you are having sexual discussions with children, that makes you a pedophile, in my opinion. Now, that's all related to children. So adults, if you're an adult, you're free to do what you want. You can make your own decisions. You can, if you want to go have surgeries to change the way you look and identify as something else, knock yourself out. That's your right. You're an American. If you're watching this video, probably, that's your right. So, I don't hold that against anybody that chooses to do that. But if you bring that to my children and you try to, discuss your sexual behavior with children, then you're a pedophile, and that's not okay. So there's a hard line there, hard stop. So that's where I'm at on this topic. So now, hopefully briefly, let me discuss this as far as the board with the whole Title IX school lunch thing, and then again as a parent after that. So from the board perspective, our county school board absolutely has the ability to say, no, we will not adopt these transgender policies. We will not allow boys in the girls' bathroom. We will not allow boys to play on the girls' sports teams. Tons of other things. They have the ability to say no. Now, if that comes with losing federal funding for student lunches, then obviously that's a problem that will have to be addressed. But based on what I see, or what I have seen with our current board, I believe that when that policy comes before them, they will absolutely approve that policy. Now, I think some of them will approve it because they're okay with that, morally. They think it's fine. But then others, I think, will use the excuse of the school lunches to, basically say, hey, my hands are tied. If I don't vote to support this policy, then the lunch money's gone, so I have to do it. So I think that's weak, first of all. So as a school board member, I will stand up for my morality. I'll stand up for those hard lines in the stand and say no. And then we'll have to figure out ways to address the issues for the consequences that come from that decision. And I'm perfectly okay with that. So from a board perspective, that's where we are. And I can tell you that there is currently, at least there's some kind of transgender policy. I think it's related to bathrooms specifically. I need to get more detail. But there is a policy already before the policy committee that discusses some of this. So I will, let me look up that policy committee. I will let you guys know in the comments section the next time that committee meets and where. And if anybody's interested in going, please make sure you show up to that, because that is very important. The school board needs to hear from parents and know your opinions and your thoughts, and we've just got to push back and make sure that that they don't just let these things skate through. So that's it from a board perspective. Now, from a parental perspective, and what these parents were really after, so obviously they wanted to know if there's anything they can do to push the board to, make sure that they are aware of their opinions. But this group of parents is after an alternative solution. So they don't want to go before the board and simply complain and tell the board that you need to say no. They want to come to the table with a solution and say, if you say no, here's an option for us to replace this federal funding with local support. So we talked really high level about that. And I think the two things that we came away with are, we need to put a number to this. So we're going to dig around and find out how much federal funding Lee County gets today. But then we also want to find how many children are part of the free and reduced lunch program, and try to put a dollar value. So I think most people will agree that government is not efficient. So I think at the local level, as a community, we could probably feed these children for less than the government is paying right now. So we want to try to find out how many kids we're talking about, so that way we know how many meals for a school year, and figure out what this thing would cost. So that's step one. We have to know what the target is. And then step two is getting more people involved that are interested in this to help, because we've all got different skill sets. We've all got our different talents. We know different people. we need people in this group that know how to do business cases, that know how to crunch numbers, that maybe where there's a source of food like fruits and vegetables, or maybe you have some ideas on where that can come from. Lots of different things need to happen, because obviously this is a huge endeavor. Even at, we have a pretty small county. We have like 10,000 students. I don't know how many are in that free and reduced lunch program, but it's a lot. And so the first thing we need are people that want to help, that are passionate about this, and are interested in trying to help find a solution. So I think, that was very encouraging to me, because it's easy to complain, but it's not easy to always find solutions to these things. So I think it was very admirable of these parents to reach out and try to get the ball rolling here. So that's what I'm trying to do here, is really help them with that. So if anybody's interested in trying to find that solution, please, call me, text, email, comment below, shoot me a private message, whatever you need to do, and I can help get you in touch with those folks. And I plan to be part of this myself, but they're going to kind of lead the charge, so to speak. So yeah, that's it. Again, if you guys have any additional questions, I try to kind of keep these videos a little condensed. If you've got questions, please reach out. If you need clarification on anything I've said here, please reach out. Don't just assume that something I said meant something. If you're not quite sure, ask me, and I'll explain it the best I can. I'm totally open to do that. So thanks for watching. Again, reach out with any questions, and hope everybody enjoys the rest of your weekend. Thanks.